Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Welcome with Ray.
Welcome to
Ray. You're gonna learn a lot about me today.
Welcome to Ray.
So
with Jason and Geneen.
So do you have any questions for me? No,
so tell me about the outlining industry.
Welcome to Ray. It's the most narcissistic show ever. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Welcome to Rum. Today we're going to be making Mai Tais. And Jason, what's the plan today?
So, the Mai Tai. To me, that was my gateway to rum. That was what kind of introduced me to rum as a spirit. And I don't know when I officially had my first Mai Tai, but the first one that stood out was 6 or more years ago at the Tacoma Cabana, which was probably the first 1944 style Mai Tai that I ever had. So how about you, Ray? When was your first Mai Tai? How rough was it?
Well, it would have been 2006 or 2007 at Hula Hula.
Mine was also in 2006.
It was a Hula Hula up in Seattle, and I know it's not a 44. In fact, I don't even know if it was an island Mai Tai.
Well, I grew up in Florida, so I'm pretty sure that the first few Mai Tais that I had were probably more island or resort style Mai Tais.
It was, it was like one of those things. It was like rum, pineapple juice, grenadine. But I remember I liked it because it got me drunk. Oh man, give me one of these Mai Tais because it was getting it. You said your first Mai Tai was in Mexico?
It was in Mexico.
I'm sure it was amazing.
No, it tasted just like a glass full of the worst rum you could pour.
So if you go to a bar and you ask for a Mexican Mai Tai,
it was horrible.
Once you find what you realize is that's actually what you ordered. It's like, here, a glass of rum. There you go.
Yeah.
So you probably turned off to Mai Tais for a long, long time.
Very
so
much
when
so.
Did you actually have a good Mai Tai, and where was it at?
I think the first time I tried a Mai Tai again was 2 years ago. I think it was probably at Devil's Reef.
yeah, until Jason Alexander at the Tacoma Cabana, I didn't realize it was really a set recipe, and it was tasting his drinks, which many of those he picked up from the Beach Bum Berry books. I went out and got Beach Bum Berry remixed and started reading it and learning, oh, this is how you make cocktails, not just a bunch of alcohol and syrup and juice in a glass.
Yeah.
So made a big difference, and I started understanding the 1944 Mai Tai and how it's kind of genius as a kind of a framework to try rums out in.
Mm-hmm.
So right off the bat, what's a 44 Mai Tai recipe?
So your basic 44 Mai Tai is you've got between half an ounce and an ounce of lime, which there's some argument about what a lime was in the 1940s versus what a lime is now, but half an ounce to an ounce.
Yeah.
You've got about a half an ounce of orange curacao, dry orange curacao preferred. I usually use Pierre Ferrand, and that's what we'll be using today. Mm-hmm. About half an ounce of the orgeat, and about a quarter ounce of demerara syrup. Rich demerara, which is a 2-to-1 demerara sugar to water. So it's a lot more lush than your standard simple syrup.
And then the rum.
The rum, generally 2 ounces of a flavorful rum.
Okay.
The original was a 100% pot still rum from Jamaica.
Yeah.
But most of us aren't doing that now today.
No.
And then, of course, the idea of using crushed ice as opposed to big chunky ice, that it's a shaken drink, and that what you should be using is, they say an unspent lime shell, but I usually just pop out my spent lime shells and put them in there because you're going to put it with the rounded side up and a big sprig of mint, so it kind of gives you that feeling of an island floating in your drink.
Yeah,
and you get that nose full of mint when you drink
Absolutely, totally. Whenever you bring that Mai Tai up there, you should be smelling that mint right off the bat.
Exactly. Little history on the Mai Tai itself. Mm-hmm. So there's been some argument among people, and it's generally settled that Victor Bergeron, Trader Vic, is the inventor of the Mai Tai, that he may have gotten flavor cues and ideas from Don Beach or Ernest Raymond Beaumont Gant, but that the first recorded full-on Mai Tai, his 1944 Mai Tai, is his. And I believe his, what's his exact quote? Anyone who says, I didn't create this drink is a dirty stinker. And he meant it.
Well, I believe that he did come up with the Mai Tai just for one ingredient alone, and that's orgeat.
Yes.
Because that was a French...
Right, and him being Bergeron, it's something he would be familiar with. That it was an almond syrup that nobody else would think to use.
I don't even know of hardly any Don Beach drinks that have orgeat.
So there's a claim that he was trying to recreate a flavor profile from the QB cooler, and I think that's very possible because it's not like Oakland and Hollywood are next door to each
Yeah.
other. So he'd be thinking, hey, I had this thing the other day or last week or last month, and it had this kind of orangey flavor to it and rum flavor, and it was a little sweet, and there were
Yeah.
some other things going on. But he took it down to its essence. As the story that he retold, and it's up for grabs how much of it is 100% true, because both he and Don Beach were kind of like car salesmen of cocktails.
Yeah.
As in, there was no internet, so the only way that you got your stuff around is by word of mouth or getting in the newspaper.
Yep.
So they would create some fabulous stories about how they came about drinks. And the idea was that you had a drink that nobody else had. And we do know for a fact that Vic Bergeron there made a habit of going around to other places that had exotic drinks and getting ideas from them. Now, interestingly enough, Vic Bergeron, Trader Vic, did come up with the Royal Hawaiian Mai Tai, which he created for the Matson Cruise Line, give or take a decade later, like 1954-ish.
Yeah.
For the cruise line and their two hotels, the Moana Surfrider and the Royal Hawaiian, I believe.
Yeah,
were
and
their
that's
two major hotels.
And the whole idea is like supposedly people's palates got sweeter, so they made a drink that was sweeter.
Well, it's also because they were going for this resort community.
Yeah.
They wanted to make a less expensive drink, and they were also trying to push the fresh citrus, especially the pineapple of Hawaii,
Yeah.
as a product. So that made sense. In fact, interesting note. We've both seen lectures from Martin Cate where he talked about the Mai Tai pretty extensively. But I read something the other day that Martin Cate had said that in the early days of Forbidden Island, give or take 2006, that he had to put a Royal Hawaiian Mai Tai on the menu because repeatedly he would have people returning drinks to the bar saying, "This can't be a Mai Tai. It's got pineapple. There's no pineapple.
Yeah.
How can it be a Mai Tai without pineapple?" So he had to include that. We're talking about Victor Bergeron and how he came up with the Mai Tai in 1944. The legend that he originally told was that he had two friends, VIP friends, in from Tahiti, and he wanted to impress them with something. So he had a bottle of 17-year-old pot still J. Ray and Nephew Jamaican rum. So he brought that down, and he was thinking, what's going to emphasize this? So in order to get the flavor profile he was looking for, he had some orange curacao. I think he referred to like a dollop of French orgeat, a pinch of this, a squeeze of that. So it was a little bit of lime, a little bit of rich simple syrup, and shaken with freshly cracked or crushed ice, and then served with the spent lime in it. I don't remember if mint was in the original one or not, but one of his guests immediately proclaimed Mai Tai Roa E, which they say means the best, or out of this world the best. Some translations say that Mai Tai is Tahitian for good, and that the Roa E meant the best or out of this world. But I don't know that for sure. But immediately that's what it was going to be called, or that's just a great story that he came up with to get people more interested in his drink.
So what you're saying, Jason, is that when they drank it, what they actually said was, that's good. That's real good.
That's real good.
Inside joke.
So anyway, big as I don't have a hold of any 17-year-old J. Ray and Nephew pot still Jamaican rum.
No?
There's, I think the last bar that had that was selling, I think, for something like $1,300 or $1,400 per cocktail.
Geneen, I thought you were supposed to bring the ball around. Where's the Ray nephew?
And in fact,
That's the only thing we asked.
and in
Out in
fact,
the car.
the Mai Tai was so successful that it literally ran the world out of that particular rum. Then they went to like a 15-year version of it. Then they went to a split between a Jamaican and an amber Martinique that was not an agricole.
That's crazy.
So over time, they kept having to change the recipe because they ran the world out of the supplies of rums they used for it.
Well, it's a greght drink. And I mean, even to this day, with all the different tiki cocktails that are out there and all the drinks that you can make, my go-to is a Mai Tai.
It's hard to beat a good Mai Tai.
Yeah.
And even the Royal Hawaiian Mai Tai, if it's made with fresh juices, is a good drink. It's different, but it's a good drink. It's just once we got into the 70s and the 80s and we started using canned juices and really thick, long shelf life type syrups, and grenadine started going into it, that's when it ruined it, and that's when it lost its identity, and the Mai Tai became an umbrella drink kind of joke. For our sampling purposes today, we're going to do a couple of different Mai Tais. At least a couple of them we're going to do splits of the rum, because in the Don Beach tradition, what one rum can't do alone, two or more rums can do together.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that. But we're going to start with something really traditional. We're going to use the Denizen 8 and the Karuba. Denizen 8 was formulated to try and be as similar as possible to the flavor profile of the early Mai Tais, either the first or second generation of them. So on the right side of your samplings, you should see your Denizen 8 and your Karuba. The Karuba should be in front and the Denizen should be in the back. So let's do the Denizen first. Welcome to Rum.
Not a sipper.
Not particularly, but it's a combination of Martinique and Jamaican rum, and it is aged.
Just a little burny.
Yeah. But the idea is that this is going to be a rum that you are going to be mixing it with.
This is
And honestly, this will make a good Mai Tai all by itself.
Well, this
but-
is what I use to make Mai Tais, is the Denizen 8.
This is what we use also.
Have you ever tried it by itself, though?
No.
Not a fan. By itself, right?
It's not bad. Maybe I'm just used to drinking it in the Mai Tai.
Let's try the Karuba.
So Karuba, dark Jamaican rum. Sometimes it's super readily available, sometimes it's hard to find, but it's a very affordable rum. And it's usually a smooth component of a cocktail.
If I use a dark rum, this is the rum I use.
So it doesn't jump out at you, but it goes down smooth.
Yeah.
It can. Not a rum that I would sip.
Yeah. No, it's very flat. Like the smell, it has a nice smell, but then the taste is nothing like it.
But then it's got a little bit of a chocolatey finish
Yeah.
to it that I kind of
Is that
like.
what it is, right? Or is it molasses?
To me it's more chocolatey,
Chocolate.
but that could just be my palate. Because you can give the same rum to 3 different people and they'll give slightly different descriptions.
Yeah.
One of my favorite combinations that I'll make at home for a treat for for me what's a more elevated Mai Tai is the Rum JM Gold, which is a Martinique. It's an agricole, but I don't find it to be a strong agricole, but a very flavorful rum. And we'll combine that today with the Appleton 12 year, which is an aged Jamaican that's especially smooth. The one to the rear is going to be your Rum JM Gold in the more rounded looking shot glass. So give that a shot.
No, there's a sipper.
To me, this is a very flavorful rum and one that I really try to keep on hand.
It's very smooth.
This is one of my favorites.
So this last one is the Appleton.
Yes, this last one is going to be an
12
Appleton
year.
12 year, yes.
So this is actually high-end Appleton.
Reasonably. I don't currently own any 17 or 23 year or 20 year rums, but most of my, I think the most aged stuff I have is like 12 or 15 years currently.
That's definitely more of a sipper than the Denizen and the Karuba. I'll tell you.
Yeah, just a smooth and flavorful rum. But that's why, for me, this is more of a treat or a more elevated Mai Tai.
Elevated Mai Tai. There you go. You learned a new term today, everyone out there. Elevated Mai Tai.
Well, you know,
It's who you give your friends to.
there's approachable, and then there's elevated.
It's like who your friends are. The people that like you just have people. Oh, I got to make Mai Tais. I don't even like these people. Triple sec. I got a bottle of Bacardi I need to get rid of.
Don't forget the Bowls orange curacao.
Oh, yeah, I've been there. I've done it.
Well, it's orange curacao. It's not very dry, but you know.
I've been down that road.
There's one under my cupboard somewhere. Now that we've had these samples and we know what the components are going to taste like, we're going to combine this with the Pierre Ferrand dry orange curacao. I'm using the Trader Vic's Orgeat because that's what I've used in most of my Mai Tais. I've bought a few other brands. I think it's not as flavorful as others that you can get, but as far as making a Mai Tai, that's what I'm used to using. I don't see anything wrong with it. Generally, I would probably use a little bit more of that than I would some of the more flavorful ones like Small Hands or... trying to remember which one it is that Latitude 29 uses, but yeah, to me it's a perfectly serviceable. It's better than the cheaper almond syrups.
And what do you think? I know you use the dry curacao, which I use too. But what do you think of the idea of people using Cointreau or?
I think it's just going to have a much different flavor to it. It's going to be sweeter, or it's going to be a little bit more maybe lush or in your face.
Yeah.
And then I bought a bottle of the Creole Shrub from Martinique.
Yeah.
And I haven't used it yet because, well, I just haven't used it yet.
Yeah.
And I thought about bringing it out for this video, but then I thought, no, we should make very similar Mai Tais, but with different rums.
Yeah.
Keep the recipe the same. So I'm going to try to use a Martin Kate recipe, which calls for, I believe, 3/4 of an ounce as opposed to a full ounce of lime. And just try to keep the ratios the same for all of them. What I'll do is I'll mix this up doubles and then split them 3 ways.
Okay.
So we don't get too ripped on the hoist that we're going to have.
All right. Well, We'll be coming right back at you. Hey gang, we'll get back to the Tiki conversation here in just a second, but I want to let y'all know they have t-shirts for sale. They are screen printed in America. The artist is Tony Canepa, and they're going for $20 a piece, $25 including shipping. If you're interested in buying one, go to my website, tikiwithray.com, and then there's a tab that says buy a t-shirt. Click on there and just follow the prompts. So thank you very much.
Now we have some cocktails in front of us. We're going to see how these rums play in the actual cocktail we're talking about today. So the first of which, I chose to use the Rum Jam Gold split with the Appleton Estate 12-year. So Ray and I will be hoisting some Devil's Reef glasses from our local tiki bar. Geneen has one. That's Kevin Hart's glass, isn't it? From his inn. What's his place called?
Enchanted Jungle
Lounge.
And all these recipes, it's the same recipe, but the rums are changed.
Right. All we did was change up the rums, and through the magic of editing, Ray is going to post the recipe that I used for it.
All right, so let's try this. That's a Mai Tai.
Yeah,
It's really good.
but you can taste that it's the Rum Jam Gold. But
Absolutely.
There's other facets to it.
Absolutely, you can totally taste the agricole in there.
Yeah.
And again,
So
this is perfect because the mint is
Yeah.
literally like right in your nose. Hope you like the smell of mint, Ginny.
because I was mixing up multiple drinks, the lime shell sunk a little
Imagine
bit.
like being on a date with some guy, but yeah, I'd like that. Ever since I've laid eyes on you, I was.
Kevin got a cocktail that had so much mint in it that it was like looking through a bush.
Was he at the McMenamin's old
Yes,
hangout?
Yes.
Because they put a whole shrub of mint in their
I only
drinks.
have like
Whenever I have somebody over that has no idea what a Mai Tai is, that's the combo that I would usually go to. Because I think that really, really stands out to let them know, no, it's not supposed to be a sweet, juicy drink. It's supposed to be somewhat tart, well-balanced, and really showcase the rum that's in it.
That is actually a lot sweeter than what I'm used to.
Really?
this is sweeter. Interesting. Well, let's move on to the next Mai Tai. And this is actually the recipe I make at home.
Yes.
I used to do this blend where I would do, I'd do the Karuba and then the Rum JM. But now I've moved on to the Denizen and the Karuba.
So again, the Denizen 8-year, which is an aged 8-year rum,
Yeah.
is a mix of Martinique and Jamaican pot still. So it's supposed to at least resemble what at least the second generation of Mai Tais would have looked like, or second or third, I guess third generation, because from what I've read, it was the 17-year, then the 15-year, then they went to, I think, like an 11-year or 10 or 12-year or something like that,
Yeah.
mixed with an amber Martinique.
Yeah.
So
Let's try it.
Denizen and Karuba.
It's smoother.
It's a little smoother. It's not as directly flavorful, but it's a good, well-balanced drink.
And you know what, though? I think I like this better. I think I like it better because it's one of those things where it's like I know the Rum Jam's in there and I could taste it. And I like it. I love it. But when I'm drinking this Mai Tai, it's like, agricole. Or this tastes like a Mai Tai.
Yeah, see, I'm a fan of the Rum Jam Gold. Like I would make myself a Mai Tai using Dr. Bird at home, but I wouldn't make it for other people because I know I like that flavor profile, and it's a flavor profile that people either love or it's overpowering.
So what do you think, Geneen? What do you think of these two Mai Tais?
I like the second one. It's closer to what we usually make at home.
Yeah.
Kevin usually makes.
I mean, do you like the first one at all, or you just like the
I
other
do.
one?
No, I do really like the first one. It's just it's sweeter and I don't know, somehow it tastes totally different than a Mai Tai that I'm used to.
So this one, the one with the Karuba and the Denizen, does this taste sweet to you?
A little bit, but not as sweet.
Not as sweet. So the first one tastes sweeter.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, welcome back to Welcome to Rum, the Mai Tais edition. We're going to try a couple of different things now with our Mai Tais. We're going to try using a little plantation Jamaica, and we're going to try a combination of Siesta Key toasted coconut and OFTD. So first up is the plantation Jamaica. That's a Jamaican rum. It's a blended rum done by Maison Ferrand, aged give or take about 5 years, and It's not one that I would use necessarily. I would drink it like in a tea punch with just a little bit of lime and maybe a little bit of simple syrup, and I've enjoyed it that way with like one big ice cube swirled up. But for the most part, I would use it more as something that I would mix with cocktails.
Interesting. Well, when I did my interview with Rocky, he was saying that they made this.
Talking about Rocky, yeah.
Rocky, yeah. That they made it specifically to make for Mai Tais. So I am curious to see how it is going to be.
So did he tell you to use it singularly or to combine it with something else?
I think singularly.
Okay.
It sounds like you just 2 ounces of the Jamaica and then that's it.
Because as far as I know, I've never tried doing a Mai Tai with just Jamaica as the 2 ounce pour, but we're going to do that today and see what it turns out like.
And what's the other Mai Tai we're going to do?
We're going to do a combination of Siesta Key toasted coconut and OFTD. So the Siesta Key toasted coconut is made in my hometown of Siesta Key, Sarasota, Florida. Not Siesta Key, Sarasota, Florida. Siesta Key is the Key Island. It's a beach off the coast of Sarasota, Florida, pretty much.
And you have stock in this company, don't you?
No, I have a deep fondness for it.
Okay.
Whenever I visit Sarasota now about once a year. That's where my parents retired back.
Hold on.
I lived there till I was 17.
It says something right here. It says here.
Thank you, Jason Craig.
We'd like to thank Jason Craig for your continual support of our product.
So yeah, if you live in the PNW and you've tried Siesta Key toasted coconut, it's probably because I told you to.
If you're friends with Jason, you've gotten a bottle of this as a gift.
That's a very common gift that I give when I go to somebody's home bar. Off to your far left of your samplers there is about a half ounce of the Jamaica from Plantation. And Jamaica, the way they spell it, and originally I thought it was Zamaica, but was it Guillaume that came to visit us up at Devil's Reef? He called it Jamaica, and I looked it up, and I believe it's the Anahuac natives of Cuba. That's what they called the island.
Okay. So. I just think of Jamaica as Jamaica.
Yeah.
Because I think I was calling Zamaica.
Well, that would be why they called it Jamaica, because it sounded like what the natives there had called it.
Yeah.
So.
Not a sipper.
No, it's a flavorful rum, but it's got some burn on it. You don't want to take a big heavy swig of it. It's very flavorful. I like it, like I said, with a little bit of lime, a little bit of simple, and one big ice cube. But
yeah, I wouldn't drink this by itself.
But
what do you think, Geneen?
No.
It's not something I would think to drink straight from the bottle. No.
No, not at all.
Yeah, the next one is going to be the Siesta Key toasted coconut.
So let's try this.
It's like a smooth glass of dessert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does this taste like home to you, Jason?
Yeah.
It's like dessert, dude.
It tastes like a milkshake.
So their rums are very smooth, very pure. It's a family-owned distillery.
I could totally drink this by itself. Easily. So this is an overproof rum, but it's not a 151.
No, it's 69%.
And
So like 138.
Traditional original, was it?
Okay, so per what Martin Cade has put out in lectures, when they were trying to formulate it, they kept changing around. It's a blended rum. So it's got some Guyana, it's got some Jamaica. I think there's maybe Trinidad in there. I can't see the label from here. Barbados, that sounds good. So anyway, when they were coming up with the formula for it, they kept trying different things in it, and it was almost right. Then finally they got to a certain blend, and one of the participants, which included Martin Kay, which included Jeff Berry, and I forget some of the other names that were there, but pretty much if you wanted to come up with a rum, they were the people you wanted sitting around the table. They came up with one, and one of the gentlemen immediately proclaimed, "Oh, fuck, that's delicious." And somebody else, "Well, that's what we should call it." And Martin Kate, being the voice of reason, said, "No, because you can't sell it in America like that. Old-fashioned traditional dark." Yeah. So, OFTD, old-fashioned traditional dark. That's fucking delicious.
Yep. Learned that from my friend Kat at Tiki.
But this is some people drink this straight. I find it to have a lot of woo-ha on the back end. So, sample with caution.
Yeah.
Ha! Yeah. What? Really? People drink this straight?
That's like a roundhouse to the palate.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell that it's a finely crafted rum, but this is not.
It's very flavorful. It doesn't have a special amount of burn to it. I mean, it slides down the palate, then it kicks you a little bit.
It kicked me the entire way down. So Raf, okay, so I'm in. So this is going to be interesting. The Mai Tais that you're going to make are going to be made with these rums, and I'm really outside of the toasted coconut. I don't know if I'd sip any of these rums by myself, but I'm curious to see how they'll be in a Mai Tai.
I don't know what exactly to expect because I've never made these particular Mai Tais before.
Yeah.
Before, when I used the Siesta Key, I think I combined it with a fairly mild Barbados rum or something else like that.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, welcome to Rum. We're back again. We're going to finish up the Mai Tais edition. We have 2 separate Mai Tais here. One Mai Tai made with Plantations of Jamaica and another Mai Tai that's been made with the Siesta Key Toasted Coconut Rum and the Plantation OFTD. So, we're ready to do this thing? Or
Yeah, let's do it. So the first one's going to be just Jamaica.
Yes. The first one just has 2 ounces of Jamaica. You and I have the Devon Devereaux Creepy Tiki glasses. And Geneen is sporting a Enchanted Jungle Lounge from the home bar of Keith Hart.
Let's try this.
Welcome to Rum, everybody.
That's incredible.
That's really good. So yeah, I'm surprised I've never tried just Jamaica before, but 2 ounces of Jamaica and a basic Mai Tai recipe turned out really damn good.
Yeah. Tastes like
This rivals the Karuba Denizen.
I honestly, I think you're not, you're not off by that at all.
And what's amazing is that this rum by itself was not very simple.
No. Not at all.
What do you think? What do you think, Geneen?
I think it's delicious. It tastes like what we make at home.
It's very slightly different than the Denizen Karuba mix.
I would say it's not as complex, but it's delicious.
Yeah, I fully endorse this.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely go out and get this. This is great.
Jamaica Mai Tai for the win. So we talked a little bit about the Siesta Key Toasted Coconut, family distillery down in Sarasota, Florida. They make a very clean, smooth product. I like their toasted coconut because it's a very natural coconut flavor. Their spiced rum is very good, but it's just it doesn't jump out at me. Like, I enjoy it. I mix it in things. I drink it by itself, but it doesn't. The toasted coconut sticks out because most of the coconut rums on the market have a very almost suntan lotion flavor to them. Yeah. Anyway, what I did with this, because I was worried about the OFTD overpowering the more subtle toasted coconut flavor, is to make a double, I used 3 ounces of Siesta Key toasted coconut to 1 ounce of the OFTD. And then, shook it and split it 3 ways.
Okay. So let's try it.
Here we go.
So this is a first for me.
Welcome to Rum. Hoist it like you mean it.
Good.
Are you still catching the coconut, or did the OFTD take it over?
Well, it's interesting because what it tastes like, just like how Geneen was saying how you use divine vanilla as your sweetener. It's a Mai Tai, but it has a vanilla taste to it to me.
Yeah, I do actually get kind of a vanilla off of it, but there's nothing specifically vanilla in it.
It tastes like a Mai Tai, but it's definitely like a sweeter Mai Tai.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that's just the way the toasted coconut played with the OFTD.
Yeah, the OFTD gives it the bite.
Yeah.
But the toasted coconut gives it the sweetener.
But I'm not getting really a coconut flavor. Are you?
No,
Vanilla.
I get vanilla too.
I get more.
Well,
vanilla.
I mean marshmallow, I guess. I mean,
Yeah, kind of marshmallow.
That's fair.
Yeah.
not coconut though. No.
But
But yeah,
far-
this is.
But as far as a sweeter, lighter Mai Tai, that's what I get off of this.
Did you use a sweetener?
No, well, I use the Demerara syrup.
So you used the Demerara, but
But
I wonder
I-
how this would be without a Demerara. You probably wouldn't even need it.
Maybe not.
It's a very good Mai Tai. This would be a good Mai Tai to make for someone who's just getting into tiki cocktails.
Yeah.
This would be a good gateway Mai Tai. You know?
Yeah.
Although all of them are. The only one I wouldn't give to someone new is the one with the agricole. I think when it comes to agricole is that there's a lot of people that either love it or hate it. And I think it's such a very distinct rum that when you have that, it's like, oh, there's the agricole. But all the other 3 Mai Tais, including the one that you just did here, the OFT doesn't overpower it. The Siesta Key doesn't overpower it. It's balanced.
Yeah. Yeah,
They're all
it's
balanced.
like the 2 separate things came up with a flavor that neither one of them has.
Geneen, what do you think? How would you rate these? What's your favorite and what's your least favorite? And
Those Jamaica's my favorite.
is it your making?
That's really good. It really
Yeah.
is.
This one might be my second favorite.
Really?
Interesting.
It's
Okay.
sweet, but
Yeah, it's got that kind of
It's
vanilla
really
marshmallowy
good.
kind of
Yeah,
flavor to it that
yeah.
I wasn't expecting that. I thought either the OFTD or the coconut was going to win out, but instead they made something between the two of them that I didn't expect.
Yeah, it's really good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Geneen, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now let's finish these Mai Tais.
Okay.
I got to drive home sometime.
Me too.
All right, Tiki friends, welcome to Rum Mai Tai edition.
Where the fuck did that come from? Tiki friends.
I guess you don't like that, Ray.
Tiki buddies. Hey, Tiki pals.
Fine, Ohana.
Hey, Tiki. Yeah. There you go. You got to use the proper terminology. It's ohana. You got to say aloha and mahalo as many times as possible.
Ohana, friends, acquaintances, mahalo, welcome back. Glad we're doing this some more. We're going to drink some Mai Tais. Is that what we need?
No.
Woo! Full hoist ahead.
I don't even know why that's so funny to me right now. Oh yeah, that's right, because I'm fucking wasted.
Do you want a coaster for it? And you can put it somewhere next to you.
Might as well just drink it.
No, I don't need a coaster. I'll just put it right here.
Yeah. Yeah, and watch what I do to your cabinet when I go over to your place.
Jason turns into the fucking hole.
Right, put it on one of the tables, otherwise you're going to step on it. You're lit, buddy.
Yeah, man. I'm very lit. Who the fuck came up with the term wife beater?
I don't know. A lot of kids that I went to school with wore them.
Like to school?
Yeah.
Like with nothing else?
Usually with like a flannel.
So where did you go to school? Compton?
It
Mean Streets of
was.
Eugene?
It was.
The mean streets of Eugene.
It
I gotta
was.
say Eugene.
Yeah, you gotta, stay away from that coffee shop and watch it.
It was on the west side. Willamette was known as the ghetto high school of Eugene.
Are we already rolling?
Yeah, right.
So now we know that Willamette is the ghetto high school of Eugene.
Where they all wear wife beaters.
If you're more country, you go
And ironically,
Eugene.
I bet you there's probably a lot of underage pregnancies. So technically,
Yeah.
they are fathers, so they could
Yeah.
be wife beaters.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think father and husband aren't the same term.
I guess you're right.